Should mute. All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to the live stream. Today, I have Alh4zr3d with me. Can we get a mic check real quick? Just make sure audio sounds good. You want to go in and say something, man, just to say hi?
Hey, Cthulhu Fatagan.
There we go. There we go. Yes, we are on YouTube. We are on Twitch. We're in both places, I believe. He's even hosting it up on his stream, so feel free to watch wherever you'd like to. Give me a thumbs up in chat that we're all good as far as, like, you know, mic check and everything. But yeah, man, I know some of these people are definitely going to know who you are. In fact, I'm actually not so sure I want them around because your chat gets pretty wild sometimes, man. Like, I'm just kidding. Everybody's welcome here. It's always a good time to be, you know, a viewer in your stream. You know, I can give a high level overview of who I know you are, and you can fill in the gaps. How about we go that way instead of me letting you talk, you know, to start it out. So,
Yeah, sure, go for it.
so from my understanding, I met you virtually first through Cody. Actually, Cody Winkler. I saw you on his
Yeah.
YouTube channel. He was talking about how you do like live pin tests on Twitch, and I thought that was like the coolest thing. You know, the way you guys talked about it, I was like, yeah, I'm all over that. So I reached out to you on Twitter. You're like, yo, come check it out sometime. Um, but yeah, you've got a military background, but you know, you didn't really see yourself coming into cyber until they were looking to basically place you in cyber, and you're like, yeah, this is whatever. And turned out you're pretty good at it, right?
Yeah, it turns out this was my place after all. Like, I mean, it was always something I was kind of passively interested in, but never really saw it as a career. But the Air Force kind of forced me into it, forced me to at least give it a try, at least. And yeah, that's it's been going great ever since. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Could you see yourself doing anything else?
Not at this point, no. I mean, my mom and dad keep asking me when I'm going to go to med school because I was pre-med in college, but and I come from kind of a biology medical family. My brother wants to be a doctor. My mom is a doctor. My dad's a high school biology teacher. And I'm just like, I'm doing just fine, Mom. I'm not going to go to med school. I'm good. I'm going to stay in the security community for the foreseeable future. So, yeah, no, I honestly, I couldn't be happier doing what I'm doing. I think I found the right niche, within the niche field that is cybersecurity, and I'm thrilled about it.
Yeah, man, no joke. So I think today now you seem to be juggling a lot, right? You work full time. You've got your stream that you're doing. You spend a ton of time on that stream, dude. Like every time I'm on Twitch, it's like you're online, going for like 5, 6 hours at a time. Uh, What made you want to do stuff like this, where you're kind of doing these interviews and getting into content creation? Like, what sparked all that?
Well, it didn't start like all at once. I just had the idea one day, like, hey, what if because I was, I think a lot of us have been having to feel in the pandemic, like the stripped away social interaction. I don't get to go to client sites anymore. I don't get to see my team. I didn't get to go to DEF CON last year. And these are all kind of crucial parts of the whole community to me. So
Yeah,
I
no
was
joke.
like, is there some other way I can get social interaction in the era of the plague? And I watched, Twitch is just something I have on during the day. I have a lot of streamers that I cycle through during the day. I like background noise while I work. It keeps me productive. I was like, I was aware of I've only a few other streamers like who were doing like hacking or infosec related content. And I was like, I think that there's some room in this space. I think I could slide right into it. I mean, there was I did a bit of a trial run last year with the Cyber Mentor TCM. I was on his stream a couple of times teaching the buffer overflow stuff. I went by a different handle then. This was long before I switched my handle to what it is now, to what I want it to be, for my brand image and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But that was me. And he's removed the videos now, so you're not going to be able to scour through them to find him. I know. I've told my community this before, and they're like, "Oh my goodness, what video is it in?" He had it up on his YouTube for a while, but he took him down after some drama happened. That didn't really involve me, but it kind of tangentially involved me, and he kind of held me responsible. So, there was I won't go into it. There was some drama.
Sure.
But the point is that it was very well received. Like honestly, when I was on his stream and I was teaching the buffer overflow stuff, I told some red teaming stories that I had at the time. His chat loved me.
Yeah.
Like I was one of his first viewers. I was one of his early guys before he really took off. So I was known in that chat. People knew me in this community. And a bunch of people asked me like, "Hey, have you ever considered streaming? We could use you in the space." And I was like, I don't think that's really for me. I was always kind of I just want to make myself better at what I do rather than try to teach someone else to do it like a lot of the time. But the thoughts came back to me in the era of the plague, and I was like, you know what? We'll give it a shot. We'll dip our big toe into the space and just see what the water's like in there. And honestly, the response has been overwhelming. So now I'm just trying to scramble to keep up with, where people expect content creators to be in this space of like really streamlined content creation in 2021.
Yeah.
I'm trying to learn video editing, trying to make my Twitch layout look professional, et cetera, et cetera. So but it's going really well.
It is.
Yeah,
it is.
like
I'd say that you've got kind of like a unique situation where I think a lot of people, not saying that you don't work hard and you don't put in a ton of work. I see the work you're putting in on your streams, but in a fairly short amount of time. I mean, you've been streaming barely 4 months, I think. And in that time, it seems like you've built a really strong like following, and you've actually got people that are active and with you. But I think a lot of this started because this isn't your first rodeo as far as gathering the community together and doing stuff for the community. Like you started the Discord for the OSCP info, or what is it, OSCP infosec prep group, something like that, right?
Yep.
I've heard you talk about that, how it just kind of started out early on when you were going through the OSCP. Would you say that kind of helped you get down this path to where you are today?
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I can't take credit for what the InfoSec Prep Discord is today. That's all been the rest of my staff. Like I got to put it all on Tiberius, Falcon Spy, Purple, all of our great Jerry Blanks, all of our great admins. It's all firmly all the praise goes to them, because I kind of stepped back from it for way more than I should have for a while. But I did create it back when I was doing OSCP. I just wanted to make a small OSCP study group, and it wasn't called InfoSec Prep then. It was called OSCP Prep.
Right.
It just kept gaining members. I got OSCP, and I kind of like moved on with my InfoSec career, but the Discord remained, and it kept growing. And I was like, okay, I'm going to probably need some more admins then if this thing is going to keep growing, because I don't want to keep paying all my attention to it all the time.
Right.
So we added some more admins, and we added some mods, and we added some more admins, and we added some more mods, and now we're at like a community of like 18, 19K members. Like it's grown quite a bit. So yeah, I mean that's why I would say I am here today. Like, because again, I think I deliver kind of a unique style of content to Twitch, which is why
100%.
Which is why so many people come to me.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have found me so quickly if I hadn't posted my first stream on the InfoSec Prep Discord and said,
Sure.
"Hey, I'm trying out a stream tonight, but come and see. Let me know what you think." So that kind of got my a lot of the people who found me through InfoSec Prep. So. If I was just going in cold, I imagine I wouldn't have made it this far already.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense. And one thing that I've noticed as a newer content creator trying to come up in the space, there's not a whole lot of people doing it on Twitch. Like there are some for sure,
Yeah.
you know, like Cybermentor's been doing it for years now. Nahamsec is another big popular name. So there's some people in this space that have been, but this is a really awesome opportunity for anybody who's watching, who's kind of thinking like, hey, maybe I should create content or give back, or even if you feel like you don't know anything or you're still beginner level, just start doing stuff. Like get your name out there, put it on a resume. It'll help you get in the field, but it'll also help you network and meet people. Like I've met so many people from doing stuff like this. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you if I wasn't messing around making funny YouTube videos on putting them online. You know what I mean? So
Sure.
So yeah, I think that's we've got like a unique opportunity where there's not a lot of people doing it in Twitch, and I feel like it's a little bit not easier to get started there because it's still brutally hard to get up and going when you've got no background or following. But yeah, I think people will look at you as one of the pioneers. You know, 5-10 years from now, I think they're going to be looking at you as like one of the pioneers of the InfoSec community of streamers, or the hacker community of streamers. So you know you're doing something cool there.
God, I hope so. That'd be kind of freaking cool, honestly.
Yeah, man. I think you're well on your way. So I'm just trying to kind of read through a couple questions that I had lined up. I would also love to hear what chat has to say, though I'm sure, you know, you've probably answered a lot of your own questions in your own chat from time to time. I did a poll, actually, on my YouTube channel earlier this week. I just wanted to ask, like, how many of my followers have heard of you? And I was kind of surprised. There was only about 70% or 30% of the people knew who you were that actually replied to the survey. 70% of them haven't seen you before, which I bet if my following, if I was asking a bunch of Twitch people, like people that view Twitch often, I bet those numbers would be scaled differently. So I see that you're doing some YouTube content. What do you have big plans to start doing stuff? I know you're getting into video editing, and as you've learned, it's brutal.
Oh God, it's hard. It's tough being a. It's nothing kills your confidence as a hacker like not being able to get normal software working the correct way it's supposed to be used. You know.
Yeah.
I've had. There has been a learning curve to Adobe Premiere Pro. I'm not gonna lie, but
No joke.
I'm doing my best to. Right now, all that's going to be posted up there is just stream VODs. I don't have any plans to do more elaborate YouTube-centered content at this moment. I just don't have time. I got to manage my time. Right now, my full focus is on the Twitch stream, and all I'm doing is editing videos down and removing like the extraneous stuff I do on the stream. Like we play the game, we play Stream Raiders on stream. We do Chad has me do exercises. Etc. I just remove that stuff and I put the streamlined VOD up on YouTube. That's about it so far. Maybe one day, give it 6 months or so. Maybe I'll have reconsidered what I want to put up on YouTube or not. But right now, the focus is on Twitch.
Yeah.
Specifically.
The cool thing about having your own platform is you get to choose what you do with it. You know, you don't have anyone telling you what to do and stuff. Have you noticed that yet? I mean, feel free to say I'm not going to answer this, but like, have you noticed issues with like places that you work at or people you work with where now you're getting more pressure to like push things that they want you to push, or has any of that started happening yet?
No, actually, no. My boss at work is aware of my stream. My whole team is aware that I stream. One of them found out, and he told everybody else. So they all know. They've teased me about it before. I don't know if they've checked out the stream or not. They haven't really brought it up. But the people who know me in real life do at least know that I know that I'm streaming. I haven't run into any issues with a company trying to insert themselves in my stream, though. I was kind of expecting that to happen at some point. Maybe it will if I get a little bit bigger. I would firmly reject that, though. Like, I want the stream is my own. It's not. Maybe one day I'll have sponsors, but my sponsors are only going to be things I vehemently support, and I'm not going to support anything on my stream just because I happen to work for the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's it has not happened yet. I was expecting my boss to try to insert himself, but he didn't actually. So
that's cool.
So far it's going pretty well with everybody being aware that I stream at work. I think a lot of them don't really know what Twitch streaming actually is. It's just the younger guys that do.
Sure. As far as work, do you manage a red team of your own?
It's a bit of a complex situation at work. I do work in I'm in a consulting position, and I'm doing some contracting work for the U.S. government right now. And that contracting work is actually being subcontracted by another company. So I'm working together with a different team that's not affiliated with my team. I'm the team lead of my particular company, but we got guys on all different assessments at any given time. I'm the only one on the assessment that I'm on from my company, so I'm not the team lead of that engagement. So I just show up and test like a normal guy, and I don't make the calls over there on my current assessment.
Gotcha.
It's a little bit of a complex situation, but I'm the team lead of the guys in my company, but I go and work with a different company. And we all work for the government, doing some work for them. So
nice.
It's a complex situation. Government contracting is an interesting ball game to be in.
Is it different than, or do you feel like your military background helped you at all with working with government contracts? Is it unrelated completely?
Oh, I'm sure it helped get the contract to begin
Sure,
with.
Sure.
I'm quite sure that it's not a coincidence that just about everybody else on the team also has a military background. Mm-hmm. Some of them have NSA backgrounds, actually. So I'm sure it at least helped me get the role. And it also helps me, obviously, to understand how the government works and likes to do things. So I would say it does help with that for sure.
Cool. Do you have what are you more passionate about when it comes to like pen testing? Because there's so many different like niches, right? Like, and I guess really you're not even necessarily a pen tester as much as you're a red teamer. What's the biggest difference between what you do and something like what I do, you think?
Between you're in like an AppSec kind of role, right? You're like finding vulnerabilities in like proprietary apps and stuff for the company you work for. Is that right?
I'm mainly doing like in-house web application pen testing at the moment.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm a red teamer now, but like last year before that, I was a generalized pen tester doing all sorts of pen testing. Anything from web app testing to external testing to internal testing to a few full-on red team engagements, a few full-on physical assessments.
Nice.
And so that variety I felt like was nice and spicy. It kept things lively. Every assessment was different than the one before it. I got to flex all of my different skills. I'm pretty well rounded as far as a pen tester goes, I think is at this point, which is one of the reasons I think I'm able to deliver pretty decent content on Twitch, because I have a pretty well rounded a knowledge of a wide variety of different concepts, even if I'd like to know some things more in depth than I actually do.
I think we all.
Yeah, we're all there. Like that's we're all constantly learning.
Yeah,
it's overwhelming the amount of you take one day off and you all of a sudden everything you know is outdated, and it's time to start learning again. So don't stop learning. Just keep learning more things. I just like, what really gets my adrenaline pinching is just pretending to be a criminal. Just I like to play the part of a criminal. I hate to say it, I like to do the illegal stuff.
Well, it's fun, dude.
But I don't like the jail part of doing the illegal stuff.
Exactly.
So I do the illegal stuff in a legal way.
Yep.
That's why red teaming kind of appeals to me, because I get to do the illegal stuff. Like that's literally what I get to do, and I get to do it just like a real attacker would do it, and I get to do it over long periods of time. I don't have to like do a quick smash and grab or anything like I used to. Like that's the kind of the way that I like it. The only thing I would say that I'd like to change about my current position is I'd like to do some more physical stuff. That physical stuff, ooh boy, that's what. Ooh boy, that'll put some hair on your testicles, man. That's
No
that's
joke,
some
man.
that's some. I mean, not everyone can do it, and if you can't, that's okay. And if anyone listening cannot do the physical thing, that's totally okay. I know many pen testers who just don't want to do the physical thing.
Are you
referring
to physical pen testing where you're testing like locking mechanisms, or are you talking about like on-site social engineering engagements?
The latter,
Yep.
mostly. I mean, I do know how to pick locks. I got all my lock picks right here on my desk. I play with them during meetings. Actually, those are my practice locks. So these are my lock picks.
Right on.
So I do know how to pick locks, but it's more, honestly, it's more social engineering. It's more being able to think quickly, and being comfortable, like stealing badges off of people and taking risks. Not everyone is able to do the hard thing when it matters and take that risk that calculated risk when the time comes.
Exactly.
And if that's not you, that's totally fine. I'm kind of blessed to be kind of a congenial person in real life. So I tend to, I tend to come off pretty well, I think, to the people I talk to. So social engineering comes easy to me. So talking my way past security guards, things of that nature. I mean, you'll be surprised. Honestly, you'd be surprised what you can get yourself up to if you're just like a regular looking white guy with an American accent and you don't wear a hoodie like I am right now. And you just look relatively presentable. You wear a nice suit and stuff. You'd be amazed where you can get to.
Or you just go to Staples. You go to Staples and you print a Photoshop badge. On that, what's the craziest, or what are some of your favorite like disguises or ruses you've had to use on an engagement?
So I've only been on a couple of physical engagements. Because again, before I was on my current red team assignment, I was doing all kinds of pen testing, and every so often there'd be a physical one that would pop up, or there were a couple of, I would say there were two engagements that I would say were particularly interesting. Like they were particularly like asymmetric or not the norm, I guess. But then COVID happened and I stopped even traveling at all. So
right.
I haven't done any physical assessments since COVID started because no one wants to fucking travel. Pardon my French. So there was the former was a physical assessment, and it was, God, I did all kinds of stuff. I have a drone that I flew up by their windows after hours so I could see it. I could try to see in to scope out how the inside of their building was. Because they had windows that were like really large windows, lots of natural light in that office building. Let's see, what else did I do? I looked for we cased that joint for like 3 to 4 days without doing anything.
Did you do the parking lot binocular thing?
Yeah,
yep,
we were in the next
too.
parking lot over, like looking at people come in and out. We checked every entrance, every entrance they were doing it right. I'm going to be honest with you. This was a bank. This was a fairly large worldwide bank that we were testing, so it was not a joke. The physical security was not taken lightly. All the entry gateways were manned. They had security badges. They had a security guard who was supposed to verify that the person coming in with the badge was the person that they seemed to be according to the badge, and all this stuff. And there were no cute tricks like being able to bring a backpack. One thing I've done before is that you can you have the turnstile when you scan the badge, and if it's unmanned, of course, if there's a security guard there, this gets a lot more hairy real quick. But what you can do is those gates are supposed to slam shut in order to prevent you from tailgating someone in. So you have to scan your badge so that they open it back up again so you can go through. Surely you can picture what I'm describing. But a lot of them have a trick where if you like bring like a bag or a backpack or something, as soon as the guy in front of you scans his badge and the gates open up, you can stick your bag against the like into the where the gate is, and the gate will stay open, and you can just kind of walk through.
Nice.
That I mean, that's a cute little trick that worked for me once, but it didn't work at this place because there's a security guard there, and I didn't want to chance it.
Sure.
Because I'm gonna get I didn't want to get burned. I didn't want to get we were only a couple days in. Didn't want to get burned. Eventually, I did gain access. It's difficult to explain what the layout is. What the layout of this place looked like. There were multiple office buildings like next to each other, and they were all connected. It was like a compound. They were connected by like this fenced in. It was like an open air, but it was like really tightly gated in. So you could walk on a little path that was separated from like the public area by like a big thick steel cage area, and you could walk through to the next building. Hopefully that makes some kind of sense. But it was kind of a cage looking thing, but there were gaps in the cage, and you could potentially slip through.
Nice.
So I eyed that up early on, and we were able to ascertain that you do not need to badge in on those doors. Those doors do not have badge like scanning things on them. So like if you got into that caged area, you could go into either building because the door was open.
Perfect.
So eventually I just there were cameras up fucking everywhere. So I was careful. I wore a hoodie different from this one. It was and I put sunglasses on. I put hoodie on. I had business casual on underneath that, and nice shoes and everything. But what I did was I picked a very specific spot, and I picked a spot that had like a tree in the way of the camera. So I was like, maybe they won't see me. It's hard to say. And I was, I'm a fairly athletic guy. I was able to scale to the top of like the fence area and slip through like the gap. And slip through the gap between like the roof of the fence and the side of it. I was able to just barely slip through and get on the inside. From there, I went into the building where I had ascertained their cafeteria was, because my first goal was to find a bathroom immediately. I need a bathroom right away.
You gotta get that adrenaline down, right?
I got in. All I did, I sent my partner a text like, okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, Cobalt Strike listeners listening, get in there, find an unlocked computer. We'd worked this out ahead of time. But I go into like the cafeteria area. I start looking for a bathroom. Can't find one right off the bat. There's no sign that says bathroom here. And of course, I walk around the corner and run straight into a security guard. Literally smack fucking dab into a security guard. Not like I didn't run into him, but like it was actually her. I didn't run into her, but she was like maybe 15, 20 feet away. Yep. And I was like, hi, excuse me. Where is your bathroom? And she's like, well, do you have a badge? She did what she should have done. She asked me if I had a badge. And fortunately, I had one because I forgot to mention a couple days earlier I had boosted a badge off of a guy.
Nice.
So I was just there was a guy. He was shorter than me, but he had dark hair and he was a white guy. So I was like, that'll probably work, right? Like, yep. I look fairly like that guy. So I bumped into him on accident and kind of just swiped the badge right off of his shirt. Like it was shockingly easy to do, and he didn't. I just said, "Oh God, I'm sorry," and he didn't even notice. He just said, "Excuse me," and kept walking. That was it. That was all it was. And unfortunately, I could have probably gained access right there. I saw the opportunity and I took it, but I needed to clarify with the client ahead of time, like, hey, because the client was really strict about the scoping. They were really frenetic about the scoping. So they said no impersonation. So I wasn't allowed to like impersonate anybody. And I was like, does this qualify as impersonation if I boosted a badge off of a dude and tried to buzz my way in and impersonate him? Like, does this qualify? And eventually they came back to me and said, no, that doesn't qualify. If you took a badge, you can use it to get in. But by then it had already been declared missing. So the badge was, I still had the badge, but the badge was not useful for like scanning it.
Sure.
In anywhere.
Yeah.
So that was unfortunate, but I was able to hold up this badge. I mean, it was in my pocket. I was able to hold up this badge to the security guard and say, oh, here it is. And the security guard did not take a close look at the badge and just said,
man.
okay, yeah, the bathroom's down the hallway down over there.
Yep.
I was like, thank you very much. And then I just walked down to the bathroom. I ditched the sunglasses. I ditched the hoodie. And now I just looked like every other dude, in their entire place. I looked like every other guy that worked in that place. I was just in business casual. There was nothing really of note. Like to note about me. I was just I wasn't talking to anybody. I was just moving. The key is to move with a purpose, right?
Yep.
You don't move like you don't know where you are. You move like you know where you are, and you just kind of like passively scope things out. And so I left the cafeteria, walked back through the gate, and back into the main. What I had ascertained was the main building. Which is basically like a cubicle farm. It was essentially a cubicle farm for all intents and purposes. It was like a maze in there. It was crazy. But I walked past, right on the inside of the door, 2 security guards were huddled together. And they were like, there's a guy in a hoodie and sunglasses. He went over the fence. We have to find him. This is real world. This is not someone actually is in here. We got to find him. And like, I just walked right past these guys. Like they did not even look up. And that was pretty entertaining. That was pretty funny. So when I got in there, I'm looking for an unlocked computer. I want an unlocked computer. I got a flash drive in my pocket that's carrying a custom built Cobalt Strike Stager. All it's going to do is it's going to run on a target and it'll produce a Cobalt Strike Stager for us. Easy peasy for breezy. But I have to find an unlocked computer first. So I start walking through this cubicle farm, and God damn it, I can't find any unlocked computers. People are so annoying when they're good about locking their computers. It's so irritating. But eventually, I tried to socially engineer somebody to try to like do the old "Hi, I'm from tech support. I need to install something on your computer" gag.
Yep.
I picked an elderly lady who didn't look terribly tech savvy, and I said, "Hi, ma'am. I'm from tech support. I'm trying to install." We're rolling out some new security software, and we're just pushing it to a couple of choice computers before we go live for the whole domain. Can I just borrow your computer for a second? It'll take 10 seconds tops. And God bless her, you did exactly what you should have done, Nana. Exactly what you should have done. And she asked me for my badge. So I had to show her the fake badge, and again, God bless her, Nana realized I was not the person on the badge.
Oh man.
And she's like, "Well, that's not your badge," and I was like, "Oh shoot, that's my husband's badge." I must have mixed it up this morning. We look kind of alike. We put them in the same place. Like it gets mixed up. You know what? I'll go find him. I'll correct this issue. I'll be right back. Okay. And she kind of gave me a weird look, but I figured she'd be kind of weirded out by the gay excuse, so she wouldn't push me any further.
Sure.
And I was correct. I don't know that she actually went to security. They didn't tell me at the end afterwards. But I was able to get away from there, and I was not bothered after that. So I did then in the next area of the cubicle farm, I actually did find an unlocked computer with the person's badge on the
perfect
just sitting there. Yep. Exactly. It was like it was insane. Like it was just the laptop was shut and it was plugged into a monitor this person, it was a she. This person could use and I guess they went to the bathroom or something. And just like literally just left their badge sitting on top of the laptop, which was unlocked, and I was able to do my business. I was able to plug the flash drive in, run the stager. It ran without an issue. I pulled the flash drive out, grabbed the badge for later, and just in case, and I just walked the hell out of there. I just literally walked out. You didn't need a badge to get out. So I just walked out. I eventually they returned my hoodie and my sunglasses to me, but
well, cool. You got it back.
Yeah. They were nice enough to return my hoodie and sunglasses, but unfortunately, after that point, I mean, we were able to actually get domain admin that evening.
Yeah.
Just from the hotel. You'd be surprised that banks are still using LLM&R and MBTNS traffic.
Oh man.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
We could, which was just as well because we couldn't get anywhere near that building. The next day, they told me they reviewed the security footage and figured out who I was. They at least figured out who the intruder was on the security cameras. and they were able to. And I swear to God, they figured out what car we were in the whole time. So like, if we came in the same block as the target, they were on us they were on us immediately. We it was insane.
Insane.
They were not letting me get anywhere near that place ever again.
But it was too late. You had already. It was too late.
I mean, do as you must. I've already won.
Yep.
Like that's sort of that business.
Yeah.
So that was one of the more fun physical engagements that I've had. So that's what I really want to go back to doing. I miss that stuff.
It's
but when COVID ends, I guess.
Right. I mean, it's crazy because you can do internal network assessments or web applications, and some of them are exciting. Like, you got domain admin from a printer, or you found domain admin in NFS, like open NFS shares, you found it in clear text, right? Like, some of those stories are cool, but nothing compares to like the on-site social engineering engagement stories. Like, that's by far the coolest to listen to, the coolest to experience.
But in the moment, I swear to God, it is gut wrenching.
It is.
When I don't want to make it. When I tell the story now, I make it sound like I was just a cool cucumber walking through that place, like ready to hack the shit out of it.
Right.
That was not the case. I was like, what the fuck do I like? Now I'm in. It was like when I got inside, I was like, it was exactly like the end of Finding Nemo. When the fish finally execute their elaborate plan to get out of the fish tank, and they roll across the street, and they get in the ocean, and then they're still in their bags, and they're like, now what? That's what it was like when I actually got inside.
Yeah, it's
I was like,
plankton
okay,
meme.
I gotta change my appearance. I've gotta look like I have a purpose, and I've got to find an unlocked computer. Like that's all I was thinking over and over again.
Yeah, it's like the plankton meme. It's like, I never thought I'd get this far.
Yeah, I don't know. I never thought it would get this far. The plankton meme. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I didn't have any. I mean, I don't even know what I was gonna say. I was just saying that it's incredibly nerve-wracking. And not everybody likes that kind of thing. So don't feel like you're not a real hacker if you just don't really care for that level of heart palpitation.
For sure.
Yeah.
Would you say? So I imagine you've been on some phishing and vishing engagements, of course, too.
Yeah.
How effective is vishing, especially compared to something like phishing? Like, are you able to get people over the phone to do things much easier than you could like over an email?
The phone is. Honestly, we use phishing for all of our stuff. The thing with phishing is you can hit many more targets all at the same time, and only one of them has to click.
Yeah.
And for vishing, we used vishing for bypassing two-factor. So one thing we did last year was to compromise a very secure target who was using two-factor duo authentication for their VPN.
Okay.
We set up a phishing website. We did some typo squatting on their domain. And we set up a clone of their login page for them, and then we sent some selected targets a text message, and by those targets were selected by past password breaches. So we went into
Nice.
the breach compilation,
Yeah.
and we looked for previously compromised credentials that were part of this domain, that were in this domain. And we picked targets that still worked at the company that had credentials in the breach database. So then we would send these targets a email that said, hey, we sent them a text message actually to say, hey, this is security. Because we were able to spoof text messages to make it seem like it was coming from their legitimate tech support. That's why we did text messages in particular. We thought that people were more likely to click on a text link to go to our fake webpage and just put in their credentials on their phone than they would be to click on a link, because this was the most robust target I've ever pen tested. This target was they had in the next phase of the assessment, I ended up finding out that they had a team of they had at least 20 guys in their SOC. I stumbled into it on accident. during the assumed breach scenario, during the insider threat scenario. I was an insider threat, and I was just kind of trying to like be undercover in their company for a while I undid them from the inside, that sort of thing. But I stumbled into their SOC on accident. I only knew it was their SOC because they had Splunk up on the first machine that I saw, and I was like, "Oh God damn it, this is their fucking SOC, isn't it?" I was just trying to like explore and get a feel of what the floor layout was, and I accidentally wandered into their SOC. I was surprised it wasn't secured better. Like I just walked in there with my regular employee badge. It was nothing. So they had a huge security team, big security budget. Again, there's a lot to this assessment, but in the early portions when we were phishing them and trying to get external access, we did what I just described to you. We sent them text messages. The manager, the CTO, the chief technology officer of the company was one of these people who we targeted.
Oh man!
And this woman responded, like clicked the test messages, put her password in, and like ostensibly changed her password. And then as soon as we had her password, we immediately called her and said, "Hi, ma'am. This is," and we picked somebody. We reconned their employees, so we knew who their IT support employees are. This is I don't remember what name I used. It's been a while. I'm Kevin Feige or whatever. I don't know. From IT support, we see that you just changed your password. That's a good idea. We did discover that your password was in some previous breaches, so we're just changing everybody's password that we've discovered just to be sure. And she was like, "Oh yeah, you guys are doing a great job. Thanks for keeping us secure." It was hard not to laugh.
I know, man. That's insane.
But then I was like, okay, just to prove that I'm talking with the correct person. Oh, by the way, these employees were fucking trained. Again, this company, like seriously, was putting a lot of money and time into preventing a breach. I think they had gotten breached a few years prior, and they just got an infinite security budget and just started pumping money into it. Awesome. This was a very large financial firm, by the way, very large. I can't say the name because I had to sign a non-disclosure agreement to attack them. But suffice to say, they were extremely wealthy and capable. So they had trained their users, like whenever somebody calls you claiming to be part of the company, ask them for their employee ID. So the way we got around that was we asked her for her employee ID. And then she just didn't ask us back.
Nice.
If you put them on that's a key to social engineering. You put them on the defensive. Act like it's you that's being suspicious about them. And for some reason that just kind of makes you more trustworthy in their mind. And she did not ask us for our employee ID. Thank God, because I didn't have one to give her. And I was like, we're just going to send you a quick duo push. All you have to do is tap it to prove it was you that we talked to, and we can move on to the next person. And she's like, oh, yeah, great, thank you. And then we just logged into her VPN. We logged into her VPN. It sent her a 2-factor. She clicked it, and we were into the VPN. Done.
Yep.
So that was, I would say, it's the success rate is higher.
Yeah.
If you're talking to someone on the phone, for sure, because you can build a rapport with the person. Especially if you can speak well, you use your sir and ma'am, you speak politely, and you use the techniques that I've kind of outlined here, where you kind of put them on the defensive. You act like you're the one that's suspicious about them and things like that. If you use all these techniques, you'd be surprised how quickly you can build a rapport with someone just on the phone. Because people, the thing about people is they want to trust you. They don't want to like call security and make a big deal out of this. They don't want to believe that anybody's trying to like actually exploit them and hack them.
Right.
So they're going to give you the benefit of the doubt, and you just need to kind of go along with that.
Yep.
Like you just kind of gotta not raise the suspicion above their level where they're actually gonna question you about it. Like that's the key. So I would say the per target success rate for Vishing is better than just phishing, but phishing is more cost efficient, and it's more time efficient. And honestly, it's worked on every target I've had so far. Like I haven't had a target. This target that I did just now resisted our fishes for the longest time. Like this was, I was a little frustrated, like because I was like, why is no one clicking on this? We had a good pretense. I didn't even make the document. I'm terrible in Microsoft Word. Someone else on the team who's much better at Microsoft Word made the document. It was a .docx. Those can't even have macros in them. They actually can. You just got to be really sneaky about it, okay? Shh.
We might need to connect offline so you can teach me how.
Yeah, I mean, it's freely available information online. I'm not really trying to keep the secret. The secret is to load a remote template. Okay, so Microsoft Word has the capability to load a template remotely. So you can actually send to someone a .docx that's set to load a template from some URL, and the URL is hosting a template that has a macro in it. So that's a cute little trick you can use. We got a couple of payloads we can use, but that one was working just fine in our tests. And the document looked amazing. Like the pretense was just, it was so good. Kiss. It was. I would have believed it if it came. I would have probably believed it.
Well,
if it came to me, because it's a tricky thing trying to get someone to click that scary yellow bar to enable macros. It's a tricky thing, but I think that my teammate did an excellent job with it. Holy shit. Very good job with that Microsoft. There was like an overlay and a watermark, and it was a real resume underneath there, and it was like a secret, like fucking, there was like a text box like, hi, this document has been encrypted by McAfee Cryptex. Or some, I don't know, we made up some crap. I don't remember.
Right.
But it had like an official McAfee logo and everything. And there was a nice place so they could type in their password, the password which we obviously supplied in the email for them.
Nice.
But you could have typed fucking anything, and you could type Cthulhu Photogyn into there, and then like and hit the. All that mattered was you hit the little button. You first of all enabled macros, and then you hit the little button saying decrypt document. The decrypt document was actually running the macro in the background. You can't really it's very hard to get away with an auto run macro these days. Like Microsoft Defender, Windows Defender hates auto run. Like genuinely hates auto run macros. So it's going to scrutinize auto-run macros a lot more. So you got to be a little bit tricky about it. You got to be a little tricksy about it, but you can get it to work. But this target was just resisting our stuff forever. But eventually, one guy did click, and then we got domain admin off of that one guy. All it takes is one guy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So as far as like time put in and like success rate, I'd say phishing is still just phishing someone with an email is still the most commonly used both by adversaries and by red teams. But Vishing, definitely we keep that in the back pocket.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. We had a social engineering engagement. It's the only one that I've done that was like on-site, on-prem. But everything was in scope, phishing, and the physical component to it. And I'm on the West Coast, so we flew across the country. This was on the East Coast. And yeah, it's amazing just how much, like you had said, people want to trust you and how fake security really is. Like, you know, this company, they looked secure. They had security guards posted up at gates, and they had all kinds of signs. They had cameras everywhere. But all it took was a construction outfit. I put on a hard hat, a reflective jacket. Yeah. Yep. Because they were a big distribution center. So I put the stuff on, and I went to Staples, printed out a fake badge. The lady at the Staples was really sketchy, you know, because I had 3 different identities I was printing out, and then my actual, like, who I was a completely different name on my credit card. So, like, the whole thing was really funny to see the Staples lady's face when she was printing it and laminating it, because she could tell, like, she's making fake badges. But anyway, we show up, and we just talk to the security guard, and he's like, "You're not on the list to get in." And we're like, "Okay." He's like, "Okay, well, I'll let you through." And he just let us right in, you know, and from there, we walked in around the warehouse and we scoped the place out. We found a sticky note that had credentials to a mailbox in Office 365. So we used that. When we got back to the hotel, we sent out a bunch of phishing emails, but nobody clicked. Like, everyone was actually really good on the phishing. We couldn't pull that off. So we transitioned to Vishing, and yeah, the success rate on that was so much greater. It's just like the ability to build rapport, and to actually come up with a pretext. I think, like you had said, the key is like make it to where you're kind of suspicious of them, but also like put pressure on them. Like the pretext we came up with was we were migrating their email from Office 365 to G Suite. and we're doing it this weekend. So if you don't verify that your credentials are going to work in the new platform before the weekend, you won't be able to get
Make
in
it
come
urgent.
Monday. Yep. And then we would start the call by saying, we sent you an email about this, but you never replied. And one lady, she actually said, she was like, oh, I got that email, but I thought it was a phishing email. And we're like, no, that was us trying to get a hold of you. And she's like, oh, okay. And the other thing that we had is, we went to ask them, okay, we wanted to get their email password, of course. But we told them, we're like, if you're in front of a computer, we can give you a URL to go to. You can go and try to sign in right now. Or if you'd prefer, you can just tell me what your password is. I can do it for you. Whatever you're more, comfortable with, whatever you're more comfortable with. And because they felt like they had a choice, they like automatically trusted it so much more. But the URL I gave them was not their real domain. It wasn't Office 365. It was it dash and then their domain.com. And
Sure.
that's all it took, and they would either sign in themselves or they would give me the password sometimes. And it's an easy way to bypass MFA, right? Because then you just say, well, they're logging in. So when they get the MFA prompt, when we really log in, they don't think anything of it. So yeah, it's super effective. I think social engineering by far is like the most fun that you could have as a pen tester. But it's definitely not for everybody. That nerve-wracking piece to it is definitely crazy. When it comes to network assessments, is that where you think you spend most of your time on?
You mean on the social engineering piece, like the gaining initial access and that sort of thing?
Yeah, just like in general, like where you spend most of your time doing. If you don't get the opportunity to do a whole bunch of on-site physical assessments, what type of stuff are you doing most of the time?
Okay, so for the long-term red team stuff, which I'm now doing consistently, I would say we spent the most time just trying to get off the first laptop that we compromised. For this, it's hard to say like what I spend the most time doing, because until this job, I was literally working an entirely different assessment every single time. It was just so different every time that sometimes I was just testing a web app. Other times it was a physical assessment. Other times it was an internal network assessment. Like every single assessment had a different mode. But as far as the red team, for this particular one, like I said, this target kind of put us through the ringer on actually getting someone to click, which again blew my mind, because the pretense looked better than many of mine ever did. I got to figure out how this guy made this Word document, because it looked fucking exquisite. About as good as you can make a phishing document look. It was exquisite. But we spent a very long time just after we gained access, after someone finally clicked and we got a beacon. We spent a very long time just on that one guy's laptop trying to just escalate. Just trying to, because they had Carbon Black running, they had Windows Defender running, they had Arctic Wolf running.
Wow.
They actually did a very good job like controlling privileges. We just couldn't figure out how to get to systems so that we could extract credentials out. We just couldn't get there. The guy was an admin. This was a fairly robust company as far as security is concerned. Not the most robust company, but fairly robust. Once we actually got system, we had domain admin like a couple hours later.
Wow.
Because we found some service accounts that had a few more permissions than they really should have had. That's typically the way that it works. We spent a fuckload of time just on this guy's laptop in the Cobalt Strike file browser, just trying to find anything that would help us escalate. And eventually we found that their version of the Pulse Secure client was out of date, and that there was an exploit there was a local privilege escalation exploit that would work on that we were fairly certain would work on that version, because we tested it in our own internal test machines. And we used the Pulse Secure exploit, and we gained system access. And then we were able to, again, very rapidly move throughout the network at that point. With system access, you can dump Kerberos tickets. With Kerberos tickets, we were able to move laterally through the network and dump credentials from other machines, and you know how it goes. And then we eventually got to we DC synced the domain controller.
Nice.
Got some domain admin. They had too many domain admins. That's another issue. That another finding for the report. Too many domain admins. And we were able to grab a domain admin hash, and we've had that ever since. And now we've had domain admin in their network for a couple of weeks, and that's not where the now it's like again it's kind of like the Finding Nemo meme again, right?
Yeah.
Because a lot of the more junior pen testers, a lot of just like the pen tester guys, the guys who just do the internal network assessments, they just do the generalized pen testers. They're not necessarily doing adversary emulation, like APT emulation. Like for a lot of other pen testers, the game ends at domain admin. Like that's the game. That's it. Yep. That's it. They're done. They're pretty much done. But for me as a red teamer, in order to really show vulnerability, I have to show that I can get data out. So we've been just kind of like poking around on their network with domain admin credentials for a while, trying to find where their proprietary data is being stored. And the answer is fucking everywhere. Like we can't find like one convenient, like don't let China see this server, like tucked away in the corner of the network where everything is hidden. We can't, that doesn't exist. It turns out there's a SharePoint. There's like 100,000 servers, like that, all of which have to be looked at. There's a whole SAP environment that we can't make heads or tails of because none of us have pen tested SAP before. It's a mess. It's a mess. But we've managed to find stuff just in trickles. We found, some stuff here, some stuff there. There wasn't like a convenient store of data that we could say, "Ooh, we gained access to your don't let China find this server," and we've owned your network now. No, it's not like that.
Yeah, well, I think that's a really good point as far as like what's different between the type of work you do and the type of work I've done. Where you're right, like when you get domain admin, maybe you hit reset and you find a different path to domain admin, and you might try to find a different way, but it's like still once you get domain admin, it's not like we're using that to go out and deploy covenant grunts, or something like that for the most part. That's definitely where you start to pass over to more red team type work. So that's really cool. That's like what comes next. How long would you say most of your engagements last?
Usually around 3 months.
Around 3 months, and then
the red team assessments are around 3 months.
Right.
Prior to this, my assessments varied in length, anything from a couple of days to a couple of months.
What happens when you get like busted? Do they well, I watched a stream where you're talking about like if someone sees it, they just kill the connection, and then you're playing whack-a-mole, right? Where you pop up over there, you pop up over here. The blue team is what I mean. But do you typically like completely lose access, or do you always try to make a second way in once you get that initial
there's always a back. We were pretty uncomfortable for a long period of time because when we were only on that one box, because I was like, we only have persistent access to one box. If they find us on here and kick us off, they're going to kill us entirely. We have to go back to fishing again,
right?
Which none of us wanted to do. So we did establish some low and slow beacons. That's what you do. You find some servers that are always up, unlikely to be rebooted, and you establish some low and slow persistence that calls back maybe once a day, just as a backup, in case your primary beacons that you're using for your ops get kicked off. That's what you do. In the context I was saying was that about the network whack-a-mole, was that's how real attackers operate. Like if you look at SolarWinds, for instance, you look at they didn't just get in with the cute little backdoor they did from the SolarWinds. They put a backdoor in SolarWinds' actual software, which was installed on networks around the world and then run. They didn't just use that software though. They then used that software to install Cobalt Strike beacons. They used Cobalt Strike to do because Cobalt Strike is very feature rich and it allows you to do a lot of things that they couldn't do from their little custom platform.
Yep.
So they use the custom platform as like a low and slow sort of, sort of communications, low and slow C2, but they use Cobalt Strike for their daily ops. That's kind of what we do. I did something similar to not nearly as sophisticated, but I did something similar by making a backdoor that used Twitter as a C2 endpoint. It didn't didn't need any domain fronting, no redirectors, no infrastructure was set up. It communicated with me through Twitter DMs.
Wow.
It was essentially a Twitter bot that executed commands on the host.
That's awesome.
I've showed it off on stream before. It was honestly very rudimentary, written in Python. It was delivered via hardware vector, so size really wasn't an issue. And it did work. We did get access. Unfortunately, they were able, but the vector by which we delivered it, the guy who delivered the hardware vector to the targets was seen as suspicious on the security cameras, and they traced all of the places that he put our malicious mice. We bought some mice from Best Buy. It's a whole other thing. They found all the places where we put suspicious mice, and they quarantined all the computers. So the one computer that was communicating with me was shut down. Like an hour after I got access, which kind of sucks because I was on the plane using Southwest Wi-Fi to communicate with my Twitter C2 backdoor on the way back home on a Friday evening. From the client site. Like it was I've never pen tested on a Southwest Airlines flight before, but I never have had to ever since, thanks to COVID.
Right.
But they killed my access in the air, which kind of sucked. That client was very robust. Like I said, it was the same client as before. We did a lot of stuff for them.
That's awesome. Well, hey man, I want to be mindful of your time. I feel like we could always, just talk and come up with 1,000 different things to talk about.
Absolutely.
I'd love to maybe connect with you again. Maybe we can make more specialized content sometime. I know that you've got a busy schedule, but we can connect offline, see if we can make something happen. Anything you want to pimp out? Any plugs that you want to kind of drop here? I mean, I don't know. Like, where can people find you? How can they get a hold of you if they want to?
Oh, well, I mean, obviously the most direct way is always Discord, right? I'm not hard to find on Discord. I'm in the InfoSec Prep Discord server. I'm in my own Discord server. I respond to all DMs. So if you send me a DM, I will respond if you got questions, comments, threats, bribes, whatever you got. From there, just keep supporting your InfoSec content creators. It's not just me out there. There's also Tiberius from the InfoSec Prep Discord servers getting into the space. He's a web app pen tester. He specializes in web app stuff, and he's doing more streaming. In fact, I'm streaming. Me and him are both going to be streaming tomorrow. The InfoSec Prep staff are doing like an Among Us game, and we're all just gonna play Among Us and yell at each other for a while. And so distrust between the staff of the InfoSec Prep Discord. We're gonna have a good time with it. It keeps find those other hacking content creators and support them because they need it. It's a good space. And if you as well have some interest in being a streamer in the space, by all means, reach into it. I've seen people streaming. Even my own viewers who started streaming content who are not seasoned professionals in the space yet, but that's okay. They're learning, and the thing is, the viewers get to learn alongside you. When you beat your head against something, the viewers are beating your head alongside you, and learning with you. There's value to seeing that struggle happen on stream, because not only do you get to learn along with the streamer, but you get to see that hey, there are other people in the same spot as you as far as your learning goes, because you other than that, you watch IPSEC's videos, you watch the Cyber Mentor, and you're like, God, this, and you watch John Hammond, etc., all the big content creators in the space, and you say, hey, God, that guy is so good. How am I ever gonna be where he is? How am I ever gonna get there? And the answer is that first of all, you're not seeing their struggle. When you watch an IPSEC video, for example, you're seeing a very streamlined run through of the machine that after he's already beat his head against it for God knows how long.
Right.
So he only seems like he knows everything. Now, don't get me wrong. IPSEC is a goddamn sorcerer. He's better than me. He's better than many of us can ever claim to be. Will ever be at pen testing. Okay. That being said, he still experiences struggle. We all experience struggle, and struggle, the try harder aspect. That's why offensive security pushes that try harder angle. That's the purest form of devotion to the old gods, to Cthulhu himself. That's when you're struggling, when you're malding, when you're pulling your hair out, and you still push through and you find the answer to your problem. that is the truest form of devotion to the black magics. So that's what you really, so there's value in seeing a streamer go through that. So don't feel dissuaded from getting into the space because of your imposter syndrome. If you want to be a streamer, there's plenty of room. Come on in. I'll plug you on my stream. I'll push your stream. I'll collab with you. Like and certainly as you were saying, I'm totally open to collabing with you in the future as well. Like, you're a great dude.
Cool, man. Appreciate it.
I need to start checking out your YouTube streams. Like, you stream on YouTube, right? I don't watch many YouTube streamers, I'll be honest.
No problem. I'm not much of a live streamer. That's a newer thing I'm trying to do. For the past 3 weeks, I've set up an interview like this. I might keep that going. It's not like a hard set in stone thing. Up to this point, I just upload YouTube videos. Usually it's like a hacking tutorial. I had this thing that I uploaded last week that I feel like could be really helpful for beginners getting into the field. It was just Legacy on Hack the Box, really simple machine, easy level machine. But I did it in this style where it's like, I show you the TCP and map scan, and you get like a minute worth of video, and then at the end of it, you have to choose which route you want to take, right? So in the nmap scan shows, we've got SMB open and we've got RDP open. What do you want to do? Do you want to enumerate SMB? Do you want to enumerate RDP? Or do you want to start a UDP scan, right? And so like the viewer is more engaged and they have to click through and they learn. So even when they pick an option like enumerate RDP, where you can't really do a lot other than maybe like look for blue keep or something, you can't really do a lot when you don't even have usernames. You can't even like brute force creds, right? So it just explains like, hey, you're doing this too soon. Here's what would happen if you tried to brute force, it fails. What do you want to do now? And so it kind of like is a learning opportunity. So I feel like that's really cool. Thank you. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that more, but it's a lot of work. But it was really well received. It was well received.
Great. Yeah, I've heard people point to it. I haven't checked it out yet. I'll check it out after the stream just to see what all the buzz is about. But my stream has mentioned it a number of times, or my chat has mentioned it a number of times now.
That's awesome.
So I definitely need to check it out, and I'm definitely into supporting other content creators in the space. So
well, cool.
I'll get in there and check it out.
Yeah, man. If you guys are watching,
I'll leave you a comment.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you guys are watching this and you don't know who this guy is yet, he's an awesome dude. Go check out his stream. Hit the follow button. Check out his Discord. I'm in there. I'm not super active, but hop in there too. There's some really awesome people. And yeah, man, I look forward to connecting with you again in the future. Thank you, everybody, for checking this out. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yeah, thanks for the talk, man. I really appreciate it. I enjoyed it.